It would be very easy to get discouraged. As someone with the calling that I have, we are living in discouraging times for Christians who are zealous for Jesus Christ, who are serious about Him, who love Him. We are sandwiched between a world that doesn't know Him or obey Him, and brothers and sisters who barely know Him and don't obey Him as they ought. We're living in a time when fables are more popular than truth. People have time for everything else but the Lord. They have ears for everything and everyone besides the truth and besides God. So, having a channel like this on YouTube, one that isn't monetized, given that most of the people in this world are not saved, and most of the people in this world who are saved are in varying degrees of apostasy. Expecting the sorts of videos that I post here to be popular is ridiculous. But what I bear in mind with the Lord's help, and it's hard because I do put my heart into the videos, and I do have the best interest of my brothers and sisters at heart. This is not a rant channel. It's not a video diary. It's actually intended to do some good. By the will of God and by His mercy. I bear in mind that the first and most important thing is that I'm doing the will of God. That's all that really ultimately matters for any of us. It's not necessarily what we accomplish on the earth in our own eyes, but whether we did what He wanted us to do. I mean, if you look at Jesus's ministry to His own people, who the majority of which received Him not, you could look at that ministry and how it ended and say that was a failure, but it wasn't a failure, of course. You could look at Jeremiah's ministry and say, well, that was a failure. He spent all that time preaching and mourning for his people and praying for his people, and they still went into exile. They still didn't listen. They didn't return to God. They fulfilled the very things that God had spoken against them that were going to happen to them. So, what I try to bear in mind is that it's not the quantity but the quality. One person is enough. One person is enough. One person would have been enough for Jesus Christ to die for. I would have been enough. You would have been enough. One person. He didn't come because there were so many of us. He came for each and every one of us, to die for each and every one of us, not for a group, but for individuals. So if one sheep is worth leaving the 99 to search for. If one coin is worth scouring the house for, then one Christian, one brother, one sister is worth all the time and the effort and the blood, sweat, and tears, all the prayers, all the hopes. It's worth that, because it's worth that to God. That's how precious every one of them is to Him. And I have to see them the same way. So if just one person who needs encouragement, one person who's straying, draws near to the Lord, returns to the Lord, is encouraged in the Lord on account of what He's doing through me on this little odd island in the midst of the internet, that's good enough. And even if no one received the truth, I would still be doing what the Lord wanted me to do. And that has to be enough for me.